Hey friends. Today's a fun video. I got tagged by Kelsee Briana Jai, because I am a Kelsee Briana Bay or a Kelbell. I am both. She was so kind to tag me in her glow up and beauty tag. It's a video with her curated questions referring to the fact that we've all been there. Bad beauty decisions, giving bad beauty advice, maybe not loving the makeup how it was back in the day, and how we improved drastically in the most positive way. And the questions are a lot of fun. So if you want to get into it, then please keep on watching. If it's your first time here, hi, my name is Alicia. Thank you so much for coming. And if you are returning, well, thank you for coming again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeups, you can head over to my Instagram. And if you haven't already headed over to Kelsee channel, you can head over to her YouTube and her Instagram. Thank you again, Kelsee, for tagging me. This is so much fun. I have her questions here. Now, before we get in, I'm not a professional makeup artist. I never was. And a lot of these answers I really had to dig deep and figure out because I never was in a professional beauty position. So sometimes it could have been advice that I might have given a friend because I probably was still in my beauty enthusiast years phase, still am. And yeah, did some dumb stuff. So let's get to it. First question, what is the worst beauty advice that you've ever gotten? I think it was baking. That the fact that baking will ensure concealer to stay on for a very long time, and being that I am the fitness industry, I was like, oh yeah, because I'm teaching all day and being in a hot sweaty room, like I definitely need my concealer to stay on all day. No, I don't. And I don't need all that powder either to ensure that my concealer is not going to fade throughout the day. I think a light dusting of powder will do just fine. But I was really overloading it and packing on the loose powder, and I did not want to admit to myself how dry my eyes looked underneath. So that's something that I should have figured out, that it's not for everyone. It's not for all circumstances. And I think something that I can't do every day because I think it's just for my skin type. It doesn't really work on me. What other worst beauty advice did I receive? Oh, probably that you need to contour and bronzer. I think one or the other is fine. You definitely don't need to do both. I bronze definitely more than I contour, but because my brush game has really stepped up, I can do both without fear of it getting muddy. So if I wanted to do both, they both will look phenomenal. What is the worst beauty advice that you've ever given? What is the worst beauty advice that I've ever given? I think it's that you need to wash your face every morning. And I say this because my poor friend Elijah, I tell her, you gotta wash your face in the morning. I mean, some people do feel like they have to, like in Korean skincare, they heavily encourage people to wash their face in the morning. But like from all the opinions I've been hearing about the matter, it's really at night that you should focus on washing your face because you have makeup on, or even if you don't, you have sunscreen on, as you should. And with the dirt and the sweat, the double cleanse really comes in handy for the night routine. But for the morning, because your skin did not undergo the same things it did during the day, then washing your face in the morning is not as crucial. Now, people might have a different opinion about it, but I think that's something that I heavily encourage with everyone that I encountered, and something that wasn't for everyone. So I know that's more like a skincare advice versus like a beauty advice, but you know. Number 3, what beauty product did you struggle with the most? What is your worst experience with a product? Urban Decay's first Naked palette. In fact, the first 3, I felt they all looked gray on me, and it was a shame because it was hailed to be like the best eyeshadow palette. I think it won an Allure magazine. I know I might not be the brownest tone of skin, but those shadows on my lids were like dusty. They were dusty, they look great. It's like no matter how I combine the shadows, it all looks so cool tone on me, despite the fact that there were how many in there? 14, I forgot how many shades were in a typical Urban Decay eyeshadow palette, like Naked. It was until Heat came along that I was like, oh, this could work. I think Honey would have been a lot better. If Honey would have released first, that would have been bomb. But I guess they wait years until they release browns that look good. And I try to make it work, and I was really disappointed with like the third one because it was marketed to be more rosy in tone, more mauve-y, gray mauve. The bronze one versus the brown, I mean, they all were the same to me when I applied them, and I thought the shadows were not the best. I actually bought the Vol and I returned it. I felt terrible, but I just felt like all this eyeshadow, despite the different color stories, just did not look good. Any of them looked good on me. So that probably was one of my worst experience because my expectations were so high just from the marketing that when I actually used the palette, I was like, meh. Number 4, what beauty product did you used to use a lot back in the day but would never use now? Banana pressed powder under my eyes. I always used to insist that highlighting the under eye was priority. And I know Kelsee mentioned this as well in her video and another question, but using too light of a concealer under my eyes. It's like, what are you doing? You don't need to light the way with those bags, okay? And I insisted not only using the light concealer, but using a light pressed powder to set it and just to further brighten that eye area. The too light of the concealer with the too light of a pressed powder, I was looking too light under the eyes and too dry. So definitely something I did not want to do.
Would you like to come in? Thank you so much.
Number 5, what makeup technique did you struggle with the most when first learning how to do makeup? Eyeshadow blending. Maybe it was because I have not yet discovered Wayne Goss and Sonia G. I always had a problem with the outer V blend when using an intense shade. I felt like I was always afraid to go in because I thought it was going to turn muddy, and every day was different. It was like one day it was great and the next it was like, what are you doing? So blending eyeshadow, I had a hard time figuring out the best way to make it look smooth and diffuse. But when I discovered natural hair brushes, specifically Wayne Sonia Hakuhoro Chikuhoro made in Japan brushes, Refer brushes, of course, I was like, the game changed for me. I became more confident in my eyeshadow blending, ways that I didn't even predict that I would just improve my skill with. It was crazy. Just because of the brush change determined how well my blend looked. So I definitely struggled with just basic eyeshadow blending back in the day for sure. Like that diffuse V-point I love to do so much. Ooh, that was pretty bad. What makeup technique do you struggle with currently and want to improve? I'm with Kelsee on this, like the cut crease look, like the Rocio looks. Oh my gosh. I know they're not practical for every day. I'm rubbing Maddie's tummy, by the way. I know they're not practical for every day, but they're so much fun to do. And they're so satisfying when you get the right flat concealer brush, you get the right textured concealer, and you make that smooth line, like that smooth cut across the crease. It is so satisfying. But, you know, I don't do it very often simply because now my schedule has been earlier, and doing cut creases 5:30 in the morning is just like too much. So I do like a nice diffuse blend, something fast and out the door, but still looks good. You know what I mean? And within the same realm of cut creases, which I think is involved similarly, is like packing on color and doing those blocks of color on the crease and on the lid. I think it's just so fascinating, but it's mainly because I don't like my eyeshadow to look super blocked out and rich like that. I know it's definitely an Instagram thing, and I think it's beautiful for Instagram photos, like those close-up shots, but I love my eyeshadow to look diffused and soft and just blended. So that's a technique that I really don't use a whole lot, just because that's how I don't like my eyeshadow to look. So what is a beauty product that you never thought you'd buy but now own? I never would have thought that I would spend $239 on eyeshadow from Natasha Denona. It was one of those things where when I made the purchase, I bought them at the same time, by the way. When I made the purchase on Beauty, I was like, wow, you've really changed. I think I understand Natasha Denona more now than I did before in terms of her intention, like her genius when it comes to colors and how she arranges them in palettes. I don't think I appreciated that as much back in the day when I bought these palettes, and I wish I didn't, because I definitely didn't use them to their potential, and I definitely felt I could have made more looks and just used them more. I definitely never thought I would spend a fortune on eyeshadow, but here we are. More eyeshadow just doesn't stop. What beauty trend or trends do you regret following? Definitely carving out brows from top and bottom. I just think it's way too much carving. It just looks so unnatural and just overly carved out and excessive, especially up close. Using high metallic shine highlighter on Instagram photos, it looks swell, but in real life, skin looks so textured because that high foil textured for highlighters, again, they look great for swatches, but on the skin, it's just not ideal. And I have a tendency now to gravitate towards softer finished highlighters because I just feel they look better on the skin. I feel they blend better, they look smoother. Sure, do they have the same powwow reflectivity on a photograph? Probably not, but I don't want to be looking textured in real life, so it's fine. You can keep it. If you had to restart your beauty collection, what are some things that you would do differently? Not buy everything. I definitely have a better handle on my spending, and that dialogue back in the day that would convince me to buy it is, you have a YouTube channel so you have to review it, or you need to have it because you don't have it. And there were just such stupid reasons, and I wish I did not spend so much money on makeup just because it was new. And I wish I had better discipline about it, because sure, with my channel growing and all that stuff, I could eventually pay back the investment that I made. I could have saved so much more money with palettes that I rarely use, especially with the eyeshadow palettes, friends. I mean, I bought so many that are just laying dead in my drawer and are being unused. And yes, powders are better to get away with longevity in regards to shelf life, because a liquid with oils and stuff like that in the formula, they have more of a tendency to go bad faster. Like foundations, I had to throw away so many foundations. It kind of hurt me a little bit. If I were to go back in time and tell slightly younger Alicia and say, hey, you think you're gonna be happy with a new release when you buy it, but that happiness of the newness goes away real fast and you stay broke for a very long time. So what is the worst makeup look that you've ever done? I think it might have been, I don't even know if I have the picture, but I attended like my job's Christmas party. First of all, forget the makeup. My outfit was questionable. Remember American Apparel? Well, I had American Apparel green tube top dress over black jeans with like a wide belt with studs on it, and I attempted to do some type of mohawk situation with my hair, and I think I had like an eyeshadow situation that was like green. I don't even know. Thinking about it makes me hurt. Believe it or not, I'm definitely more adventurous with my makeup now. I think because it's due to the fact that I kind of know what I'm doing. I rarely did anything powwow crazy back in the day. My most was like wing liner and bronzer. That was it. I'm definitely a lot more detailed with my makeup. I'm more adventurous, like I said. I'll use more colors. I'll use green during the day and it not look nuts. So I would say I was really boring back in the day, like in terms of I could have done more. Like I was looking at a picture I had when in a photo shoot, I didn't know anything about setting my face. So my skin texture could have looked better for the camera. I could have done a lot more of my brows, fluffed them out a little bit. Could have put something in my crease so it didn't look so flat. So I definitely take more risks now than I do. But specific to this question, yeah, my Christmas party thing going on, I don't have a picture of it because I feel a lot of my pictures got lost with all my device switching. But yeah, Never again. What is the best makeup look that you've ever done? Ooh, that's hard. I really liked how a lot of the looks came out for my Pat McGrath series that I did. I did a 3-look series using, at the time, it just went up to Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. So I used all her Mothership palettes and I created 3 looks using the palette. I remember it has to be, maybe because I loved how my hair looked as well, when I dipped into Mothership 3 Subversive and I combined Blitz Amethyst, Gigabyte, and Night Creature. That whole look was a mood with the headband and my curls and the eyeshadow. It was just definitely one of the best photographs I have in my collection. And as you know, that is my favorite Pat McGrath palette. So yes. What beauty advice would you give a beauty lover, makeup artist, or beauty influencer? Be yourself and don't worry about what everyone else thinks. I've been told that I'm too silly, that I'm weird. Why am I acting like that? Because that's just how I am. And I was speaking to my friend Robin about this, how it's so hard to dive into something that you are severely afraid of. I was severely afraid of teaching fitness for the first time. I've taken a bunch of classes. I knew that I wanted to do it, but to know I had to stand in front of however many people, let's just say 30, lead them through a class and get ready to hear their opinions about me. Because I worked front desk quite some time and members would just come up and start barking at you, saying the most craziest things about instructors. Like, obviously you're having a bad day. So I was always afraid to be talked about in that way. And that's why it took me a long time to start teaching, because I was just terrified. But I would say what holds true to no matter the field that you're in, I could speak to that in terms of the beauty influencer space, because since I'm not a professional makeup artist, but I do consider myself a beauty enthusiast, to keep going and don't put yourself on a timeline. I knew I had to work on my articulation. I'm not great at it. I have to edit out a lot of stuff because I mess up a lot, and I don't think it's a speech problem. Maybe it is. Sometimes I have a hard time getting out words smoothly, and I have to say things again over and over. But I found that the more I speak and I'll talk to myself randomly just to practice and rehearse, that I do get better at it. When it comes to being comfortable on camera, if you're not in front of a camera often, you will feel uncomfortable. You will feel like it's impossible to get over. And that's something that has to be done over and over again. You have to practice the thing that sucks, because if you don't, you'll always feel afraid. You'll always feel you're never going to improve. I know I'm not great at speaking off the cuff on camera, so that's why I have to practice it often by myself, namely when I'm doing reviews, because when I'm delivering important information like prices and the brand inspiration, all that stuff, I always stress about being as communicative and articulate as possible and making sure you guys understand the product well to make an informed buying decision. But that stuff doesn't come easy to me at all. And I talk to people every freaking day. I'm talking to probably 50 people at a time. But when it comes to talking about makeup, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And granted, I started this channel with hair. So now I had to change from hair vernacular to skincare and makeup vernacular. But all that to say, keep practicing and don't stop. And Kelsee was speaking about this as well, in terms of being a pro in the makeup space. You gotta put yourself out there. Like, if you are a brand, you have to act like a brand and put yourself out there like a brand. It is very draining. People go to school for marketing and branding. So it's like, now to rely on yourself to do all these tasks, to put yourself out there, is very daunting and overwhelming. I'm undergoing the same thing with my fitness business. Like, I hate it. I hate doing mailing lists and telling people about my classes. It's just, I'm not very comfortable at it and I'm terrible at it. But it has to be done, because guess what? I am a brand, because I'm an independent contractor, and if I want to make money, I gotta put myself out there. You definitely have to have thick skin. No, people are gonna share opinions that are just absurd and out their butt. And people love to talk and just share thoughts that I guess if they can't get them out, they'll explode. I don't really know. Keep going, keep practicing, share your love and your passion, and it will all come together. A huge thank you to Kelsee for tagging me. This was a lot of fun. Definitely forced me to go back in time and space, figure out moments of my life where I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have said that or done that. Ooh. And I'm so happy with how I turned out. My makeup looks better, looks smoother. We got that eye blend going. Now that's why I'm close up, because I'm confident about the blend. I know it's not gonna look crazy on camera. And any of you on YouTube, grab the tag and do it, man. I think it's really fun and interesting to see people's portfolio of mistakes, just to learn where they came from and know what to not do again, so we could get this glow up. And that is it for me, friends. Until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until then, I'll see you in here again with another beauty tag, review, tutorial, get ready with me, or favorites list. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.